Hey guys, thanks for clicking in on the video. Before I get started, I just want to say this is my first ever YouTube video, but it's something that I'm very interested in getting into doing. And so I figured if I'm going to do it, let's do it on something that I enjoy doing. And of course, that's mostly car parts, truck parts. So today, obviously, we're clicked on the video. So, we're going to be swapping over from the factory turbo inlet pipe to the PRL. That being said, also, I have already done PRLs cold air intake actually last week, the day I bought it. Shout out to Honda in Nashville. They were able to get me the best deal of everywhere in the country on a new Type R. And y'all, if y'all have been shopping, you know that they're not easy to get your hands on. So shout out them. And so there's a couple things we're going to do differently. So I've already got a couple of the couplings here that will come in this package if you don't have already. So that being said, I have already done that. Worth every penny if you haven't done that already. $500 if the noise you get along is just worth every penny. If I had to go back and pay $2,000 for it, I would. So PRL, don't raise your prices because of that. But anyways, let's get into the video and I'll show you what to do to swap out this turbo inlet pipe. Okay, so we're going to kind of go over everything. So like I mentioned, I have already done the cold air intake from PRL. So this piece to here that I've already put on my vehicle, but does come with it. I won't be swapping that out, but we'll be pulling all this back basically. Taking this out, which will be a bolt there, which are 10 millimeter. And then you got one kind of hid back here. Let me see if I can get this bolt here will have to come off. And then we'll have to pull back some of this stuff. And then we've got, very hard to see, but there is a bolt way back here, if you can see that. Back here close to where I'm pointing to the left of that. And then you will have another, there's a black marking on mine right there that we'll have to take off. And so I will get to that on the next video here, next clip. All right, so we were able to get the bolt that was here and there off for this. So that gives you some room to be able to get this out. We'll go over, this is the way I'm doing it. You can choose to do it, I guess, in different orders, but I'm going to now loosen up these here, and then as well as that, just you can loosen that a little bit and you can just slide that straight down and you can slide that on back on here when we get everything back together. But we're going to do that real quick, and then once I do, okay, so now that we're done with that, I really actually just loosen them all just a little bit. Loosen this side pretty good, and then make sure that this one here is loosened pretty good. And I was just able to grab it and move before I make a mess. Pull it that way pretty good where it tucked out, and then pull it back this way, and then obviously you'll just lay this over here out of the side. So with this out of the way, I'm going to go back here and then loosen that 10 millimeter. I'm going to leave this one and this one for the time being because I feel like I need to unloosen those down there first, or it'll go flapping all over the place. So I'm actually going to go down here, and now, so this is the one that's kind of hard to see, but if you look right there is one of them down there. And then down here, if you'll come to the side, you can see it better. Mine does have a black marking beside it, but that's a bolt there that you'll have to take out. So I'm gonna do that real quick, and after that, we'll move forward. Okay, so it was kind of hard to get down there. Let me grab my other extension. So to this first one that's back there, I was able to get this longer extension and get back there to it, and I had the room to, of course, luckily I have this too. You can do it with a regular wrench, but I was able to get back there with that one. This one I had to actually get the shorter extension because you run into bumping into a piece here. You can kind of wiggle your way down in there, get those two loose. And honestly, if you may have seen that magnet, I have this long magnet that kind of bends, and when I got it all the way loose, it was acting like it was going to fail. So I just ran this down in there, stuck it to it, then pulled this out of the way, and then had my bolt stuck to the magnet there. So I would highly recommend that, or you may end up dropping that bolt down there to the bottom. So okay, so now that we've got this part taken care of, so now that moves pretty freely, we do have this last one there, as well as them two there. So let me do that real quick and we'll move on. Okay, so now that I've took the back bolt, the two there, this is gonna be completely loose. I'm gonna wiggle that out real quick. Okay, so I pulled that up, just set that up there for just a second. My car's still a little warm, so that's why you see me struggling to get that out without burning my fingertips. But you'll see when you pull it out, mine actually came off. Yours may stay stuck to this, but that's actually that black piece I seen earlier. Is we're gonna be reusing this. If I can grab it. We're gonna be reusing this gasket, so don't throw that away, okay? Okay, so now that everything's kind of out of the way, I'll move that in a second. We'll zoom out. We're gonna take our new piece that's gonna go down in there. Be sure to put that gasket back on there, so the PRL should be facing up like that when you gotta put it down there. So we're kind of gonna go back and redo everything we just undid. So I'm gonna put that back on a time lapse, put that down in there, and get those two bolts started that'll go on each side down here at the bottom. So I'll do that real quick and then we'll move to the next part. Okay, so I tightened them down the best I could with my impact there. And then for as far as torquing goes, I didn't look up Honda's torque to spec. I kind of just got a good feel for it. I got a regular little wrench there and did that by hand. I did not want to tighten that down and break those bolts off in there. So that's obviously something you may want to look up and see what their torque to spec is on that. So now that this is tight, we're going to go back in those two bolts that we took out on this one, which will of course be, if I could get it to focus, will be this one here, right down there. And then come to this other side, there's one up top right here. So that's gonna tighten this back down, and then we'll move on to putting the turbo inlet pipe on. So now that this is tightened back down with those two bolts, we're going to take this coupling. It will come with three. Like I said, I have already had two of them because it came with the cold air intake that I've already installed. So those two will also come with it to swap out if you have not already. So the smaller is going to be with the piece that goes here. And so there's actually two different sizes. The smaller side will be what connects here and then into the turbo inlet pipe. So I'm gonna put that on real quick with the clamps that go on it. Okay, so now that we've got that on there, we're going to take the new part. It's going to go like there's these two. It's going to bolt up where it's almost just like the other one was. And then the back piece, we're actually going to take an old part off the back side of the stock piece. It's this rubber. You might want to. So it's going to come with the bolt in it. This is going to be in there as well. So you want to take those out, kind of pinch it, slide it in there, and then from the bottom, we're going to push that back up in there, and then we're going to tuck it in there, then run that bolt back here, and then the two there. So we're going to knock that out real quick. Okay, so now that we have tightened those three down, and then I went ahead and that one was already tightened that one up. Now it's kind of going to be just wedging this. Like I said, if you've got the two pieces from, let me grab this real quick. It's going to come with the two new pieces. One that clearly, you'll see it's got the piece that goes up into here. It's on already right here. And then obviously this piece is going to be on the other side that goes here. So if you have those, you would put those on as well right now. You'd swap those out. And you have these little, like I said, tighten all those down, and then the small one, little clamp's going to go right here. So I'm going to try my best to wedge that all back together, and then we'll pretty much be done with everything. So stay tuned. Okay, so we've got that knocked out now. So you squeeze that. That's probably the most pain in the butt part. Some people say you need to take this out, which the box, it's not that big of a deal. There's a couple bolts there, one down in the bottom that's held down from the other side. It's not that bad to pull that out, but I was able to do it, just like I said, kind of maneuvered in with loosening all these parts. So to recap, we're going to start with this, take that off. We took that out, obviously, a couple bolts here, here. And then obviously the clamp went in there where you didn't need that on the other piece. Then there's the two for the harness that you need to loosen up at least, and then the two 12mm bolts that hold this piece on. So on that, it's all together as one, so you don't have anything. So, and then be sure obviously to take that little rubber piece out, put down here. So I'm going to get you a quick sound clip, and see if there's a sound difference, and we'll may even do a clip running down the road to see if there's any cabin noise or any power difference that I noticed. So. So I'm just gonna do a quick little pull here with the windows down first to see if I notice a power difference, two, a sound difference. Another guy I was watching said it sounded had more of like a growl to it. We're about to, I'll give you my thoughts on that here in just a second when we can get pulled out of here. I don't know about so much of a sound difference, but it does feel a little torqueier, like maybe on the low end side. I'm gonna roll the windows now and do one more quick little baby pull here. So we'll do windows down now, second gear. So all in all, I don't know so much the difference in the sound. I don't have an exhaust on this yet. Still contemplating that or deleting the resonator. But I do feel like maybe I hear the slightest bit more of like the blow-off valve, which of course is what sounds the best to me. But it's hard to tell on this car. Like I said, I've only been driving it a week, but like I don't necessarily know about getting up like on the higher side of the RPMs, but I do feel like on the lower side, like it just a little more torquey, where it carries its power really good, the car does, throughout the whole RPM. But like it kind of seemed like, coming from a dead stop and punching it, before the turbo, it almost seems like there's a less of a lag there. So all in all, between the two PRL things that I have put on, being one now obviously this turbo inlet pipe, two, the cold air intake, I'd say they're both worth it, but if I had to choose between the two, absolute no-brainer to do the cold air intake. I mean, said obviously noticeable little power gain there, but oh my gosh, you can't even, the noise, like people, it's funny to see people looking at the car when it's just casually, you don't have to be on it hard, like you can just be casually driving it easy and you're gonna get that, like it's just insane to me. So but all in all, if you're thinking about doing both, you might as well do both at the same time, because you're going to be taking off the parts to the cold air intake anyways to replace those. So. All right, so that pretty much concludes the video here. If you stayed this long throughout the video, I appreciate you staying and watching. If it helped you, as they say, like and subscribe. I'm going to start trying to post content mostly for a new hobby. If this is something you think you might want to do, I say go for it. Don't just make you a couple videos and post. I do love the Type R. Again, shout out Nashville and Honda. They're the only dealership that would sell me one at sticker price. So I had to search around pretty hard to find that. I do have the two Teslas. Nothing compares to Teslas as far as speed and power, really. But the Type R is, for what it is, a 2.0 turbo. It's pushing, it's 315 stock, and obviously adding stuff like this, it's going to be a little bit quicker. Maybe tuning it. I'm scared. I don't know if I want to void that warranty, but thinking about it. May post future videos on it. I'm in the car sales world. I may post content on all the features of the new vehicles work at a GMC dealership here in Coleman. But again, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it, and we'll see you on the next video.